AJ from the Warriors Project. We are out here in BuCyrus, Ohio at Suburban Lanes, and you never guess who I ran into. Mama Dukes.
Hey guys, what's up?
One of my favorite people in the whole world. I just was at another rally with her. Was it last week?
It was last weekend.
It was last weekend in Shelby, Ohio, and I had a chance to hear her tell her story. If you'd like to see that, it's on our YouTube channel, Warriors Project YouTube channel. It's an amazing story. I was floored. But one of the things I heard in that story that really intrigued me is part of it was that you kick in doors to rescue girls out of the sex trade.
Yeah, it originally started, you know, when you're a mom and you don't know what to do with your loved one, something comes over you and you have no fear. So a lot of it started with me going into dope houses, trap houses. My son was held at gunpoint to people he owed money. So I never thought I would do things like that, but I would have dealers by the throat when they'd come down our road. And I did a lot of work in Toledo, Ohio when I still lived in Ohio, and it was a big area for girls being sold into the sex trade, and helped open a house that was just for them to come to and feel safe. And as they got more and more comfortable, they would start sharing things. One of those things was, one girl said to me, when I go to the bathroom, they literally know how many squares of toilet paper we wipe with. That's how much they are controlled. And that stuck with me, and it was like, wow. And that was about 10 years ago, and I never realized I was going to come back to utilizing and using some of those things that I learned about that. But sad to say that a lot of people that are addicts, they do whatever they have to get what they need so they're not sick. And one of those things happens to be getting with someone thinking their drugs might be free, and now they're handcuffed to a bed and they're being used as a sex prisoner to work off that, and they continue to give them their drugs so they're not sick, but they're a sex slave. And so it started with a girl that I helped that just kept hitting her head over and over and over, and she would go to the gas station and get something to drink, and she would always use someone's phone. And there's good people in the world. People would call me immediately after and say, I don't know who that girl was that just used my phone to reach out to you, but I literally took it upon myself to follow her, and I saw what hotel she's in and what room she's in. And then you have to decide, sometimes they are not willing to come and they will protect them. You don't want to put them in harm's way. So yeah, we will go out and hunt down your loved one, kick in a door, get them out of there if they will allow us to.
I love that. That's kind of energy and passion you bring to this. But one thing we didn't mention is Mama Duke is one of the founders of the Fuck Heroin Foundation, which is probably in the top 10 biggest nonprofits in the United States. That's a big order. It's a really big order. You are also been doing these interventions for years.
I've been doing interventions for about 15 years. You know, Frankie, my son, was hard-headed. He would relapse over and over. One thing about him, though, is he always wanted to help others. So
he doesn't look hard-headed at all.
Not at all. But he would continuously send other people that needed help. And when we started this project, we never really spoke on it. You know, he said, Mom, it's been a year on his year anniversary that I said fuck heroin. And we put that Facebook up just for people to go to, for people to find information, have someone to talk to. We never dreamed what it was going to grow into. We reached 4 million people on Facebook. We have a radio show called Shattering the Stigma, which we have guests on, and that's all they do is talk about. There's nothing worse than someone that wants help, but they won't ask because they're judged.
Yes.
Or they open their mouth and someone has a nasty comment. Or they're at a meeting and they happen to be on maintenance.
Yes. And
someone starts telling them, well, you're not clean.
Yeah.
Now you're shutting them down. You know, there's a million ways to recover. it doesn't work the same for everybody. You know, so stop that stigma, guys. Whatever it takes.
Even the big book says it doesn't have the market cornered. And I totally understand that. You know, we need to educate people. We need to educate the police departments, and just like they don't understand that it's a disease. They think it's just some choice.
You just hit on something that I have to say. Casey's Act is something that was passed in 2012 in Ohio, and it amazes me that the government entities, police department, sheriffs, hospitals, judges, anything to do with it, they don't even know what this act is. What it is if you have a loved one that needs help and you're fearing for their life, you can go to the court, fill out paperwork, and ask that they be sent to treatment. Yes, you do have to come up with where they're going to treatment. Yes, you do have to have insurance or, you know, pay a sliding scale.
This is actually a law.
This is a law.
And it's called Casey's Law.
Casey's Law.
How long has this been around?
2012.
Since 2012.
And people do not know about it. People do not know about it.
Because as being in love with an addict that was in active addiction, there was like nothing that they could do. I was in with the family. There was nothing that we didn't think there was anything that we could do to help. So you can actually go in and make a case.
You make a case. They go in front of a judge will pick them up. They go in front of a judge. The judge says to them, you know, you're being sentenced to treatment if you're willing. If that person's not willing, they sit in jail a few more days, and they keep bringing them back. And there's not a time period that the judge sentences them to treatment. That's based on their assessment and where they're going to treatment. So
is this a state law, a federal law? Does it apply in Ohio?
It is in Ohio. In Florida, it's called the Marchman Act. Every state has something, there are different names for it, but so many people do not know about that.
Including the police departments and the
Including
judges.
the people that really need to know about it.
Oh boy. So like, you have to be a family member.
You have to be a family member, or you know, you could be like a girlfriend, someone, a loved one. The other thing is,
sometimes you need to move them into a position to where they get some clarity.
Yes. And the other thing is the Good Samaritan Act. You cannot get in trouble for calling 911 and helping someone. You know, it's hard enough when a family loses a loved one to addiction, but I can't tell you the amount of families that their loved one was in a car for 40-45 minutes being driven around from house to house of other addicts to see what they should do. Never, ever, ever be afraid to call 911 and let someone know you need help.
Well, didn't Lance Combs, the police chief from Shelby, touch a little bit on that in the rally?
He did.
And I believe there's some 3.
No.
No, I didn't understand that.
That's why so many people looked at each other. I don't know if he was referring to the 3 strikes you're out law that has to do with other things, but you know,
I just thought we'd talk about this just so we get some clarity out there.
Police departments, unfortunately, read their own way into wanting to decipher what does that law mean. And it doesn't say anything about, oh, if you called 3 times or if this person has been helped 3 times. There's no such thing. If they need help, you call 911. Do not hide anything, move the needle, do anything like that, because if they do pass, you are now an accomplice to murder. So leave everything as it is and call for help. That's all you need to do.
So where do you see the future of this going? Where do you see Bucyrus gun? Are we ever going to see an end to this?
I'm scared to say I don't think so. It's progressively got worse and worse. The kids that are using are younger and younger.
They obviously have no fear of it because it's well known that the stuff out there is killing people.
It's killing people. You know, one of the things that I always ask someone if they've overdosed, how soon do you use again after that? And you would be amazed. A lot of them say someone's picking me up from the hospital with it as soon as I can get away from my family, as soon as I can get to it. I know, I'm not an addict, and I can't imagine doing something and almost dying and going right back to it. And that has to show you we're dealing with a disease. Nobody, they're not sitting there thinking when they're doing that, I'm going to die. I might die.
They are feeding what their mind is telling them. They want that drug. They're chasing that drug. They don't care about the consequences. We've seen that in addiction. We know that obsessive compulsive nature of what we deal with.
And they call it staying well so much because a lot of people don't realize opiates do a whole lot of different things to your body. DTs are your organs coming back to life. People don't know that. It's your liver, your kidney, your bladder. It's the juices that start flowing through your body. That's what DTs are. The other thing is your brain receptors have not communicated the right way. Your endorphins, you're happy, you're sad, it's all been, those receptors are blocked basically, and it's being governed by the opiate. So people don't realize you get through the physical withdrawal in about anywhere from 20 to 30 days after that physical withdrawal. Now comes in the mental withdrawal. And what I mean by that is you've got every lie, every manipulating, everything you've stole, everything you didn't want to deal with. Most likely a lot of people with, cases coming up with the law, and that's all hitting you 100 miles an hour. On top of your brain, I compare it to a car that needs a tune-up. It's like spark plugs, they're not lined up right. Those brain receptors are just happy to find each other. They're bouncing off each other. If an addict doesn't understand what's going on, they think they're crazy because they're laughing when they should be sad, crying when they're happy, and they don't know what's going on. Eventually, those receptors line back up, and it's like they're misfiring until they get to the right spot again. If someone doesn't know that, so many of them go back out and use because they think they've damaged themselves so much that at least I could think I was sane, or thought they were sane at least. But there's so many medical things that go on that an addict needs to know and understand when they're going through that process.
I've been hearing stories about what the heroin is evolving into. I'm hearing it's being mixed with drinks now. I hear it's being mixed with methamphetamines. Boy, this is
it's gotten to the point where it's in weed now.
in weed.
In weed.
Oh, that's the first time I heard this.
I dealt with a young man in Ohio last weekend when I was home, and his mother happens to be a police officer and was able to pull some strings, and it was in his weed. Yeah.
Now, with fentanyl being inhaled, is it just as dangerous as being?
It doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter how you do it. And then you think about carfentanil. That's made for something that's 14,000 pounds.
Yeah, an elephant.
An elephant. I don't know anybody that's even 1,000 pounds as a human being, and of course they're not going out saying, hey, I want carfentanil, but it's being mixed with anything.
Well, I just heard a story of an addict who passed away about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they got the toxicology report back, and there was zero heroin in his body. It was all fentanyl.
The funny thing, and not funny, but when you ask someone what's your drug of choice, they say, oh, heroin. I use nothing but heroin. I would say a good 80% of their labs come back and there's not anything at all heroin in their system. They think that's what they're getting. Pretty scary.
It's very scary, very scary. Well, it's always good running into you. I love the time that we spend together.
I do
You're
too.
awesome.
I would love to be around all the time.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And until next time, you're coming back up for a cage fight?
I am. December 10th, we're sponsoring.
Is it a cage fight?
I don't know. Don't make me lie.
Don't make me lie.
It's Richie Weber, who is an MMA fighter, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it. It is December 10th. Frankie and I will be up here with some of the rest of our team supporting
Awesome. I love
that.
Frankie. I missed him today.
Yeah, he's in Florida. We're doing a big event there, a sober event today. So the rest of the team's in Florida. Jesse and I are here. We're wherever we can be.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will see you December 10th because I'm not missing that for the world.
Love you guys.
Bye.